Hey friend! Welcome to the Branding with Jade podcast. I'm Jade, also known as the Aussie Adventuress, and I left the high-flying corporate world to chase my dreams and build an online business. Now, my biggest passion is teaching you how to get paid to be yourself doing what you love. If you want my secrets on all things personal branding, marketing, entrepreneurship, and making money doing what you love, then lovely, you are in the right place. Let's go. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Branding with Jade podcast. I hope you are all well and having a fabulous week so far. And since we're still pretty close to the start of the year, I thought it would be a good opportunity to talk about social media and some trends for 2020 that you should really start to think about using in your own business and to build your personal brand. So I just wanted to share with you some research that I've been doing into the social media trends for 2020. So these days we spend a lot of time on social media. It's a really big part of our lives, and given the importance of social media in our lives, it is a really big part of marketing and business and building a personal brand these days because it's where everyone is hanging out. Regardless of age, gender, location, pretty much everybody is on social media these days in some capacity. So if you are trying to reach people in terms of building your personal brand or in terms of getting your business in front of people, then you really can't ignore being on social media. So let's take a look at some of the trends that are really going to be big this year and that you should really consider using in your own personal branding and business and marketing strategy. So one of the biggest trends is the ephemeral content, which is content that is only available for a short duration. So think Instagram stories, Snapchat, your Facebook stories, all of that kind of stuff where you do it and then it disappears. And this was something that, so Snapchat started it, obviously. That was a few years ago when Snapchat was a big thing. I don't know if many people still use it for business. Personally, as soon as Instagram stories came out, I lost interest in Snapchat and moved straight onto Instagram stories because that way I could do everything in the one platform. I already loved Instagram. I already had a following on Instagram. And I feel like Instagram is more of a place where my ideal client hangs out. Snapchat was just sending weird, silly videos to my friends. It wasn't really business related, whereas Instagram is a way to build a personal brand and business, and that's just my personal experience. But these days, if you aren't showing up on Instagram stories or any type of this kind of content on a regular basis, then you're really losing a huge chunk of potential because this is where clients are hanging out. This is where people are hanging out. It's easy to consume. People have short attention spans, and not just that, they're short on time. Most people are checking social media between meetings, when they're on their commute to work, when they're just in between errands and that kind of thing. And so they don't have hours to sit and watch long form videos, and they don't have hours to read blog posts. And so they sit there and they scroll through stories because it's easy, it's quick, it's fun, and they can check up on all their favorite people in a really quick amount of time. And they're short, they're engaging, and people pretty much do become addicted to that because they can just scroll through one story after another, listening to all their favorite people, getting a glimpse into their lives and seeing what they're up to. And so it's a really good place to really start focusing attention. I try to do stories daily. If you follow me on Instagram, you'd see me on there all the time. And a really good tip is to not just batch it all at once. So you might do a few stories spaced out throughout the day. This way you keep going to the front of the feed. So if and this is specifically talking about Instagram because that's what I know. I just share my Instagram stories to Facebook, but I don't really use Facebook stories and I don't use Snapchat anymore. But specifically on Instagram, when you look at the stories, the people that show up at the front are the people that have posted a story most recently. So if you want to keep showing up at the front, the key is to keep sharing stories throughout the day. And that way you stay front of mind for your audience. And the more people see you on stories, the more they get to know you, see a glimpse behind the scenes into your life, the more they get to trust you. And that's how you really build that strong, powerful personal brand with people. So story, that kind of content is really crucial to building a really strong personal brand these days. And I did find some stats on the number of people that are using Instagram stories specifically, and this is daily active users. Back in October 2016, where it first kind of was just starting to become popular, there was only 100 million users back then. It kind of grew throughout 2017, and by October 2017, there was about 300 million users. By June 2018, it was 400 million users. And then in January of 2019, it was sitting at 500 million users. So you can only imagine what it would be at now currently in January 2020. They haven't updated those stats yet, but it would be well over the 500 million. So Instagram stories have grown massively in the last year, and they offer huge potential for growing your personal brand because it's a way for people to see behind the scenes. It's a way for people to get to know you, to have fun, to engage with you in different ways. And I will do a whole episode on how to use Instagram stories to the full potential because it is such a good thing to use. So that will come at a later stage because I really do think there is so much you can do with Instagram stories, and it is a really good way to build your personal brand. So that's one of the top trends I wanted to talk about, and that's why I spoke about it first. Now let's get into some other trends. So the next trend I wanted to talk about is niche social media platforms. So it's raining here. I'm hoping that you can't hear it, but it's just distracting me because I'm just looking out my window and it's like super windy and stormy and my cat's outside. So I'm just watching to see if he comes back because he'll get scared of the rain soon and want to come in. But anyway, so niche social media platforms are really starting to be up and coming. So in recent years, it was Facebook and Instagram that have dominated. They've been the biggest platforms. Before Instagram really started to get big, it was just Facebook. Facebook was huge, and then Instagram came along and that started to take some of the power, and then Facebook and Instagram combined and are part of the same company now, so they have dominated the social media. But in recent years, several other niche social media platforms have been coming up and they have started to rise to fame. And I don't know if you've paid attention, but one good example of this is TikTok. Now, I have not done anything with TikTok. I watch them because it's been getting so much media about it, and I've seen some of the big people that I follow have started switching over to TikTok and doing stuff on there. Personally, I don't really see the point in it. I guess it's just that I'm not a very creative video person. I'm just someone that talks on video and shares what's going on in my life. I don't do a lot of the production style videos. And so to me, it just seems like a lot of effort. But people that love that kind of thing are doing really well. You get a really good expanded audience, and it is a good way to promote your business if you do know how to use it right. So that is one of the platforms that has really gained popularity. There's obviously LinkedIn as well, which is good for B2B companies and your corporates and all of that kind of stuff. But businesses are really starting to use LinkedIn as well. Then you've obviously got Pinterest, which is really big. And so there's a few other platforms that are starting to emerge, and it's not just going to be Facebook, all about Facebook and Instagram. So it's good to diversify. It's good to consider if any of these platforms are right for you. It doesn't necessarily mean that you need to jump and be on all of them. Like I've said in earlier episodes, the more you try to spread yourself too thin, the less it does for your brand. You really want to master a few social media platforms, get really good at them, build your audience, build that tribe, and then expand. Once you've got that really strong, solid following, they'll follow you to other places, and then you can really build your brand and extend it out to other areas. But if you are somebody that wants to be on one of those niche platforms, that's also a really good way to grow because it's smaller, because it doesn't have such a huge amount of people for you to compete against to start off with. You could grow a lot faster. Like back in the day, it was a lot easier to grow on Instagram when it first came out because you weren't competing with as many people. There wasn't paid ads available on Instagram, so everyone was playing the same game. Obviously, as time has gone on, Instagram has become a much bigger platform. There's more competition. You've got to work with the algorithm. You've got to understand how it works. And so that could be a reason why some people are jumping to other platforms where they can get a bigger reach, where they can reach a different audience. And so if that's something you want to consider doing, then think about which of those niche social platforms is right for you, because they may not necessarily be right for you. Like I've said, TikTok would just be pointless for me, and I may bite these words in a year's you never know. Halfway through the year, you may find me on TikTok and I'll eat these words and say, well, okay, I was wrong. But for right now, I've said TikTok is not my thing because I'm not into doing those kind of videos. Maybe if I have someone around me that could do the production for me and make the fun videos and be creative, then maybe I would do it. But right now, it's just another thing that I'd have to figure out how to do, and it's not something I'm interested in. So think about what's right for your brand and what's going to really work in your favor, and choose those platforms that are going to suit you. Now, a big one which had a lot of talk last year and is still rolling out, but it's rolled out to the biggest country now, so that's a big thing, is the removal of likes on Instagram. So they started to trial it mid to late last year, where they removed it in a few countries. I think it was Canada first, and then Australia and a few other countries were in the second round, and then the United States happened towards the end of last year, and now it's being rolled out. It's starting to roll out everywhere. And so this major change is something that is really going to change the game on Instagram. And it's a really great move, I think. Like, it takes away so much pressure from people who are just focusing on likes and aren't focusing on the right things. So this is a really big trend to really be aware of, because you need to learn how to really get the quality engagement, because so many people before were just focusing too much on vanity metrics, and they were allowing these metrics to really control the way they showed up on Instagram. They were allowing it to maybe get them to do things that they weren't necessarily needing to do, and that wasn't necessarily the right thing to do, but they did it because they felt that that's what they had to do. I'm talking about things like buying likes, joining engagement pods, joining programs that automatically give you likes when you share a post, and it's all automated. Those kind of things don't really do anything for you to actually grow your account or build a loyal, engaged following. And so by removing likes, Instagram is actually making people act differently on Instagram. It's actually forcing you to focus on genuine engagement, building connections with people, actually going and commenting on people's stuff, engaging with their stories, sending them messages, showing that you are genuinely interested in their content and their lives, and they will in turn reciprocate and be interested in you, because you're forming these bonds, you're forming these real connections with people that are genuinely interested, and you're becoming more friendly. And it's a lot more effort than just going through and tapping like, which is what people were also doing just to get noticed. And the whole hashtag of like for like, follow for follow, all of that stuff is just going to be gone now because Instagram is removing such a big feature, and we need to learn to adapt to that. We need to learn how to work with that. And it's really good because what it does is it forces you to actually measure your content better when you can look at how many comments you're actually getting, how many people are saving your posts, how many people are sharing your posts. That is much more genuine engagement than somebody just scrolling through their feed and tapping heart, 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 heart on every post they see. That doesn't really tell you that people are genuinely liking your content and really engaging with it. So the removal of likes is a huge one, and I believe it's one that really works in our favor. So when you learn how to actually understand your insights, how to actually build genuine connections with people, how to create content that people actually want by using your insights to understand what performs well, what you need to create more of, what didn't necessarily perform well, you will be able to build a much stronger brand on Instagram than ever. And it's one thing that everyone was so terrified of losing has actually made such a positive change. And I really do believe this will see an amazing change in the way people use Instagram this year. And it's going to be great for brand building. So embrace it, love it. It's awesome. It is a big trend that is really been spoken about lots in social media forums and Instagram forums online for the last few months. It's still a hot topic, and it's something to really embrace because it is such an awesome thing. Another big trend, and this is a good one to pay attention to if you're somebody that sells your own products, so e-commerce, that kind of stuff. You can use your social media as a storefront now. Social media platforms like Instagram, Pinterest, and Facebook have long been used to sell products, but now you can go one step further. It's not just a matter of posting the product and then sending people to an external link. These platforms actually allow you to have shoppable links, shoppable images. So you're like on Instagram, you may see some of the accounts, you can click on their photo and it takes you to a store. Their actual posts are shoppable. That is a huge change, and that is something to really jump on. If you do have a store, if you do have products to sell, then jump onto having a storefront, because that is a huge way to leverage keeping people on the platform, keeping people in your world, and not making the process difficult for them. Because if they have to go to another link and then do this and do that, sometimes it stops people from doing it. They're enjoying their time on Instagram and they'll go, oh, I'll get to that link later, I'll come back to it later. Whereas when they can shop directly through the app, that is a huge game changer, and it's something to really leverage and incorporate into your sales strategies if you are somebody that has that type of business. Now, the next trend I want to talk about, this is something that's been up and coming over the last few years, and it's still front of mind, and it's something that you really need to embrace, and that is video content. Video content over the last few years has been dominating, and it is going to continue to dominate because it is one of the most engaging forms of content, and it is a clear winner over all other types of content. And that's why TikTok has become so popular. That's why Instagram stories and Snapchat are so popular, because people like the quick, snappy videos. And that's why YouTube has always been so popular, because it's long form video content where people can go, they can learn, they can really understand things in a deeper sense, and they can get everything they need from a video rather than having to try and decipher something. Somebody can sit there and show them what to do. They can physically watch someone and then copy them and learn in a visual way. So if you are somebody that learns in that way, then video content is the way to go. Video content is the future of social media content. And if you are not using videos You need to get comfortable. And the only way to get comfortable on video is to just start doing them. And if you go look at my YouTube channel, which started about 4 years ago, it's just look up youtube.com/JadeScarfoni, you will see my videos when I first started were awful. I was so nervous. I hated being on camera. I didn't know what to talk about. I would record a video like 100 times until I felt like it was perfect. And by that point, I just sounded like a robot because it was totally scripted. And I watch them now and I absolutely cringe. But I like leaving them there because it also shows me how far I've come. If you watch my videos now, people always say to me, "You're so natural on video. You're so good on video. We love watching your videos because you just come across so confident." And that just came with time by showing up and continuing to do video, doing lives, doing all of that kind of stuff. The first time I did an Instagram story, even though I'd been using Snapchat, I still felt weird doing an Instagram story because it was something different. And now you see me on there all the time. But you do see that I say sometimes that I don't like doing them when my boyfriend's around because he thinks I'm weird, or I'll happily do them in public with a bunch of randoms, but then when I'm with friends or family and stuff, I won't do them because I feel weird. So that's something I have to overcome. But I'm still not afraid of actually doing video content. I love doing video content, and I do know that it is the future. And my thing is that I can't be bothered editing. I don't like that. That's something I want to outsource. So eventually I will do more of the fancier, high quality edited, well put together videos. But for now, I love stories because it is such an easy way to get on video on a regular basis. And I love live video because the same thing. There's no post production. You just record the video then and there. It's done. People see you. People see you showing up. You get confident. You may make mistakes. People may not watch you, but that's okay because you're doing it. And it is a really great way to get comfortable on video. So if you are not currently using videos, it is time that you include it in your content strategy, because in the near future, videos will dominate social media, and anyone who doesn't realize that will have a tough time. And like I said, you can just start by using features like stories, and then you can add videos to your social media posts. You could go and do one day with a photographer or videographer and create a few vlogs and drip them out over a space of time. And that way you have some good quality video content. You could do a video trading series. Videos in your emails are so powerful. Everything comes down to video. You need video content, and if you're not using it, then you really need to just show up and get confident, because that's what people want. That's what you need to be giving them. Now, another trend is, this has kind of been spoken about a little bit about in the last few years as well, but it's starting to be a little bit more up and coming. And this is the adoption of technologies, things like augmented reality and virtual reality. These platforms are starting to grow. Now, it's still not huge, but you might have seen things like the 360 photos on Facebook, the where you upload a photo and it can be done in 360, or it can be done in a different view. So you scroll and it looks 3D. All that kind of thing is that augmented reality. So people are kind of looking at the photo and seeing what you're seeing rather than just seeing a still image. They see this reality kind of version of the photo. It's still at its kind of like early stages, but there's lots of things that are changing. The other thing is your Instagram filters. That's augmented reality. When you have the filters in your stories, that's changing the actual reality. It's putting a different filter over you. It's changing the vision of you, and it's really cool. It's a huge reason why I actually love jumping on stories, because I love putting the filters on. I have fun with filters and things like that, and that makes social media fun. It makes it engaging. It makes it different, and people love using that kind of visual content it makes it more popular. And so it's something to embrace as well. I know so many people that don't use that stuff in their stories. Just have fun on your stories. Just show up and say, oh, I'm just testing a new filter today. Oh, I like this one. Like, that is fun. And it is a big part, and it's going to become bigger as time goes on and technology becomes more and more advanced. These things are going to show up even more. Another big trend, which has been talked about lots over the last few years and has become huge in the last few years and is going to continue to grow. I don't know if you've guessed it. It's something I talk about a lot. It's something I've dabbled in a bit. I haven't really done a lot in the last year or so, but it's something I still do love doing, and that is influencer marketing. And you might be sitting there going, yeah, but influencer marketing doesn't mean anything to me. I don't know how to use it. If you're a business and you don't know how to approach influencers, the best thing is pretty much anybody can be an influencer these days, as long as they have a decent kind of following. And they don't even need to have a huge following anymore. It's not about going to those celebrities. It's all about the nano influencers and the micro influencers, those with less than 10,000 followers, those with 1,000 followers, 1,500, 3,000. Those people have highly engaged audiences that actually genuinely care about them, that trust them, that know them, that like them. If you approach somebody that is in a similar kind of niche to you, that is going to really do your product justice and has an audience that is going to be full of your ideal clients, you can truly use that to your advantage. And it doesn't cost as much as doing an ad on Facebook. And if you go and build a relationship with an influencer and keep exchanging product for posts and then paying them for their posts and things like that, when their audience keeps seeing these products showing up in their stories and in their feed, they're going to start to go, hey, she loves this product. I really want to give this product a go. She's talking about it all the time. Because the thing is, people need to see something so much more these days. So you just paying for an ad once to get it in their feed once isn't enough. They need to see it over and over and over again. And if they see something in the feeds of people that they know, like, and trust, rather than just a random brand popping up in their ads, they're going to be more inclined to take action. They're going to trust it more. And on the flip side, if you are somebody that wants to work with brands, this opens up so many more opportunities for you, because brands are much more open to working with the smaller influencers. And marketers are not just collaborating with 1 to 2 influencers now, but they're working with a whole huge network of smaller, relevant niche influencers, because we get much higher engagement and the cost is much less. So investing in influencers can be much cheaper than running paid ad campaigns, but delivers such good results. Plus, influencers can help marketers achieve a variety of goals, and not just generating leads, but actually raising brand awareness, showing that the brand is valuable and that they have strong values and all of that kind of stuff, showing how the products work, showing the products in action. That can do so much more than just one little ad, which is why it has become so popular and is continuously getting stronger and bolder. So going forward, more and more marketers will use this strategy and work with multiple smaller influencers instead of one celebrity. So if you haven't thought about using influencers yet, this could be the year to do so. Now, another trend, and this isn't necessarily something to adopt, but it's something to be aware of, and that is data privacy and security. These are 2 issues that have really made headlines for social media over the last few years, especially networks like Facebook. And social media can be very easily used to gather information about and misuse it. And so there are lots of things that may be tightened, and we need to be aware of this, especially if you're doing things like ads, if you are using the data collection, and if you're using Instagram and Facebook to get leads and things like that. There was a whole introduction of the GDPR in recent years where you really have to disclose what you're doing in terms of collecting people's email addresses, and that's the General Data Protection Regulation, in case you don't know what that stands for. And that's mainly in the EU. However, it does apply all over the world, because if you are collecting leads from people in Europe, then it still applies to you. So you really need to make sure that you're across these trends, that you understand what's going on, and really be aware of these regulations and restrictions that may come out on platforms, because these are things that are really being brought to light and are really have a strong focus on. So it's something to be aware of, and it is a trend that is not going to go away, and we can't just ignore it and sweep it under the carpet and think it's not going to affect us. We need to pay attention. We need to be aware of what's going on with the platforms that we're using, and to make sure that we're doing them right, that we're not making bold statements that we can't back, like so many people used to just plaster income claims all over social media and things like that. You really need to make sure that whatever you're saying is able to be backed up, that you've got results, that you've got proof, and that you are staying aligned with the terms and conditions of the platforms that you're using. So really be aware of this fact, and really understand that there is going to be more regulatory control and legal scrutiny. So it's super important to understand the implications, to understand what's going on the platforms, and to really do your due diligence to make sure that you're following things and doing them the right way. Now, another trend will be the increase in the use of social media for customer service. So in the past, social media has traditionally been a place for people to just connect with their social networks and share photos and videos. And then it became about businesses doing their marketing and growing their customer database, growing their leads, and that kind of thing. But now now that it's a retail platform, it's a product discovery platform, and now it's even a customer service channel. So a lot of brands have started to recognize that social media networks are a great platform for delivering customer service. Lots of people don't really want to phone a customer helpline these days. They would prefer to contact through social media. I book a lot of my appointments through social media. That's how I contact hair appointments, nails, things like that. That's how I actually contacted a gym today to ask questions about their membership. I book most things through social media. That's where you go, because you kind of you want to look at their feeds to make sure that they're actually going to give you what you want, and then it's just easy to contact them through there. Nobody wants to get on the phone and speak to a customer service person these days. It's just dying out. And so brands are responding to that by opening up social media channels to connect with their customers. And so this is a really important thing to think about if you run a business, and if you have got customer service involved, how is the best way to actually offer the customer service support to your customers? What is the best thing to do? Like things like when I've bought courses, all their customer service is done through Facebook groups and email. Facebook groups are such a great way to provide customer service, because it's a private group. You only accept the people that have bought your product, and then you are there to help them. You can have someone else managing the group for you. You can have people there answering questions on your behalf and stuff like that. And it is a really good way to service your customers. So that is something to really think about. The next trend to think about is personalization. Now, this is when you're actually targeting the content on a more personal level. And this can be done through the data that you obtain, and through your insights, and through understanding who your ideal client is. And this is something that can be done really well when you're using things like Facebook ads and Instagram ads and email marketing. You can segment your audience into different lists and send emails to them based on their actions. You can have different ads going out to different people based on when they stopped watching a video, when they dropped off an ad, whether they clicked a link or not. You can keep showing things to them, and it is really good. And if you think that personalization is something that doesn't work, just think of any time where you've had a conversation with a friend and then you've gone onto Facebook and you've seen an ad for something that you've just been speaking about. Like, say you were out talking about what dress you were going to wear to a party on the weekend. And then the next thing you know, you look at Facebook and all the ads popping up in your feed are for dresses. Or you talk about wanting to go on a holiday, and then the next thing you see is all the things popping up are holiday ads. Or you've done a little digging on a website on your phone looking at different gyms, and then the ads on your Facebook feed are all for gyms. This is all based on the data that is being put through to Facebook and Instagram. And so this is because of the online behavior and preferences. And so everything is personalized and curated to your taste. So this is such a big game changer. And if you really understand the metrics and if you know how to work with the ads, this is how you really can optimize your ads and optimize your marketing strategy by really understanding personalization. And then on the next level of that is personalized video content. And this is something I did when I was doing the promotion for Amy Porterfield's course last year. It was using email videos, and they were personalized videos that I sent to every person. And you can easily do that there's platforms out there that allow you to do that. There's one in particular that I used called BombBomb, and that is such a good way. You show up in somebody's inbox with a video personalized to them, and it is such a powerful way to really take it to the next level, because that's what people are looking for. They're looking for those personal touches. This is something you can do on Facebook and Instagram as well. You just send a little video to somebody saying, hey, blah, 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 blah. I thought you might be interested in this, etc., etc. That I didn't really have an example planned. But you can personalize video content and really aim it at a person, and that is how you get that deeper connection. You really get to that next level of building a relationship, and this is something that is really, really going to take over and become more powerful as time goes on, and as more people are seeing more information and targeted by more and more brands. The more personal you can get, the more of a relationship you can build, the more powerful your marketing efforts will be, the more recognized your personal brand will become. People will start to know you, they will like you, and they will trust you, and that is the key. And that's what these trends are all about. It's all about the video content. It's all about being personal. It's all about building that higher level of trust, showing up more, building that trust factor, that like factor, getting people to know you better. That's what all these trends are. So it's really important to understand these trends and to know how you can implement them in your own business and in your own personal brand. Now, some other trends to consider is things like user-generated content. So this is going to continue to be popular. It's not a new trend, but it's a trend that is still going strong and will continue to do so. So what I mean by user-generated content is something like, say you have a product and then you're selling that product, and so you're selling dresses and you've got 10 people that bought the dresses, and those 10 people love the dress so much they take pictures of them and they post it on their social media. That's user-generated content. And then you could take their pictures and post them on your own social media to show your dresses out and about being used by real life normal human beings, and that shows other people that the product is popular, and that shows them that they should buy it too. Other user-generated content is testimonials. You can post that kind of stuff. That is brilliant for building a personal brand when you have people saying great things about what it was like to work with you. And it's just great to use user-generated content if you don't have enough content of your own. If you are somebody that struggles to come up with content, if you are somebody that doesn't always know what to post, mix your user-generated content in with your branded content, and it is a really authentic experience. It shows people that you have a much wider reach, that you have lots of different types of content, lots of different clients and users and all of that kind of stuff. And it is a really great way to build even more brand awareness and a much stronger perception of your brand and what it is that you do. And last trend is the rise of social media communities. Again, this is not new, but it is something that is going to be, it's something that has really taken off. I have noticed a huge takeoff in this in the last year, is things like Facebook groups, Instagram DM groups, your Telegram groups, all of this kind of stuff where you're taking it out of the public place and into a private group. So this is groups where like-minded people can come to talk about their shared interests. I have a Facebook group. I don't use it so much anymore. I used to use it really well when I first started my business. I grew it to a really good size, and I built a really powerful audience, and that's where I did all my selling. That's where I did all my marketing. It's where I shared all my free content. But then I wanted my free content to be able to go to a wider audience, and so I stopped keeping it just in my private community, and I decided to do things like my podcast and my blog and things like that, so I could reach a wider audience and help more people. So Facebook groups are a brilliant example of social communities though, and they are a really good way to build your brand, to really establish your authority with a smaller group. And it's a great way to get customer feedback, to launch new products, to gain valuable customer insights, and all of that kind of stuff. So this is a really big thing. And if you haven't experimented with Facebook groups or any of those other kind of social communities, then it's a really good thing that could help you to really raise that brand awareness and build that really strong sense of trust within your community, and to really grow an even stronger brand. So that is all the trends for 2020 to consider using in your marketing strategy. So leverage these to your advantage and stay ahead of your competitors by being ahead of the game and knowing what's what. Now, you'll find that some of these are repeated from previous years, and that just goes to show that they're getting even bigger. They're really becoming even more relevant. The video one, that has been spoken about and people kept ignoring it and thought, no, video might go away. I'll avoid it. I won't have to do it. You cannot avoid video. Video is huge. It doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter if you feel awkward. It doesn't matter. You just need to show up on video. So the key here is social media is dynamic and competitive, and knowing the trends, staying on top of the trends, understanding how they work, understanding why they're important, and really leveraging them and using them to your advantage is what's going to help you ace your social media game. So understand them, live them, breathe them, figure out which trends are the best suited to you, embrace them, work with them, like the whole removal of likes, embrace it. Know how to work around it. Do the research. Understand what's working on Instagram now, and make sure that you are adopting the new strategies and you're not just staying stuck in your ways. Social media is an ever-changing space, and you need to change and grow with it if you want your personal brand and business to grow. So that is the top trends for 2020. I can't wait to see you using them. I'd love to know which trend you are most scared of, because if you're most scared of it, that's the one you should do. That's the one that is going to get you the greatest results, because I know there's so many people that are listening to this that are going to say, I'm scared of videos. And guess what? That is my challenge to you for this year. Go out and do videos. Do a video right after this episode and get it done. And I'll see you next week.